Hello. All right, I'm trying both platforms again today. All right, hi everyone. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. I'm really excited about our topic for today. It's going to help you look a little bit differently at how you plan your work week and just kind of break things down in a way that I'm hoping will make things a little more clear and also help you to prioritize some of the things that are important for your own business growth. Before we get into that, I have a really exciting announcement. You may have seen it earlier if you're following along, but registration is open today for the pre-vacation prep plan workshop. And this workshop is going to be so amazing. If you are a mom with a business and you want to be able to go on vacation and have it actually feel like a vacation, to be able to unplug, to be able to turn off your work brain and enjoy your time off, knowing that things are just fine while you're gone. They're going to be just fine when you get home. And we're also going to talk about preparing your home so that when you get back from your vacation and you're feeling good, you're feeling relaxed, you don't walk into that like, ugh, type of feeling when you walk in the door and there are bags everywhere and all the laundry's dirty and there's no food in the house and you feel like you have to do everything all at once. We're going to talk about how to prepare ahead of time so that you can let the vacation vibes linger a little bit longer so you can ease that transition back home. And I know that it's strong wording to say dread your own vacation, but I think if you're a mom, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like, it takes a lot of work to get ready to go, and then when you get back, you almost feel like you have to pay for being gone with everything that's waiting for you. So this workshop is all about lifting some of that overwhelm, making things a little bit easier, a little bit smoother, so that you can look forward to your vacation and enjoy it and have a nice, simple transition back to real life when it's over. So registration is open for that event right now. It's going to be live on Zoom May 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's totally free. I will drop a link in the comments probably when I'm done recording at this point, but you can find it at the link in my bio also at jlanevirtual.com/vacation. So would love to see you there. And yeah, let's dive into today's topic. Today we're talking about creating your weekly plan and really how to break it down in a way that makes a little bit more sense. Sometimes when we think about creating our ideal week, or today we're talking specifically about the ideal work week, it can be a little bit overwhelming because there are so many different moving parts and we're not really sure what's the most important or where they're supposed to go or when we're supposed to do them. And so as a business owner, when you're doing a lot of the things, maybe all the things in your business, it really helps to be able to break it down into a plan, a structure that you can kind of repeat week after week. So that's what we're going into today, and specifically the different types of work blocks to think about when you're making that weekly plan. If you are new to me, hello, welcome. My name's Jenna of J Lane Virtual Solutions, and I'm a systems and rhythms coach for moms with businesses. So I help you to create a support structure around both your home and your business so that things flow a little more smoothly, so that you're spending less time on the things that have to get done to keep things running, and you have more time to rest, more time to do things you enjoy and that really fill you up. And really ultimately so that we can have really rich, well-rounded lives as women and as moms, and yeah, have your home and your business work together and support each other. So that's me. I would love if you're watching live, or if you watch on the replay, say hello in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, maybe a little bit about what you do. I'd love to get to know you. And so I mentioned a little bit about why we're talking about this particular topic of your weekly plan today. And there are a couple of big reasons that I see and a couple of places where people get hung up. So the first thing is that it's really easy for a lot of us, I think this is really common with women in general, to let our own business goals and priorities take a back seat to the commitments we've made to our clients or the commitments we've made to other people. This can even spill over, into your home. Like, some people will procrastinate their work by cleaning up the kitchen. I don't have that problem. I'd rather work than clean the kitchen. But I've heard a lot of people say that your obligations to other people carry more weight with us sometimes than the promises and the goals we've set for ourselves. So what happens a lot of times is maybe we have these big goals or visions or ideas that we want to implement in our own businesses, but we end up trying to fit them into whatever time is left over at the end of the week, right? We say, okay, on Friday afternoon, when I finish everything else I have to do, then that time is for me and my business. But the problem is that time often just doesn't exist, right? The time can always get used up. There's always someone else, something else that we can give our energy and our hours to. So a lot of this comes down to, just tendencies that a lot of us have for people pleasing, for seeing other people's needs as more important than our own. And so when we have a structure in place where we have intentionally carved space out for our own goals and our own business growth, it makes it a little bit easier to follow through. I like to think of this as treating yourself like a client, treating your own business like a client, putting it in your plan, putting it on your calendar, and we're going to talk about some different ways to do that. The other reason that I see, or challenge, I guess, with creating your ideal work week plan is that there are so many different pieces of our businesses. We're also working from home. There's all this other stuff going on around us, and it can be overwhelming to try to fit everything in. A lot of times we're trying to fit too many things in. And so one of the strategies that I really like to use for this is just breaking things down into smaller pieces, kind of categorizing and grouping things together to make it more manageable, to make it feel a little bit less overwhelming. I like to talk about it like putting things into buckets, and I'm going to share with you the 4 buckets that I think we need to plan for every week in our work plan. So the reason that I love having blocks like this so much is it gives a purpose to a certain chunk of time. You can set a goal and intention for a certain chunk of time. It's not like I'm going to sit down and get whatever work done I can as much as possible. There's going to be a specific intention behind it. And when we break things into these smaller chunks, they become more manageable, largely because they also become more flexible. Right? Like if you have a big block of work time that's say 3 hours and something comes up and you have to shift things around, it can feel a little bit more overwhelming. It can feel a little more disruptive than if you have like an hour maybe that's set aside for a specific purpose. It's easier to kind of shift and move things around. I like to use Trello for my weekly plan and for honestly pretty much everything in my business. And I really like how visual it is. I like to break things down into these different blocks, and then I can move them if my day changes or whatever's going on. So that's a tool that I recommend. I actually have a free template that you can grab if you use Trello or if you've been wanting to try it. I think it's one that's super user-friendly for people who want to get started with a project management tool. And you can find that at the link in my bio. I'll also drop a link in the comments. But this is the template of the weekly dashboard that I use in my own business every single day. It comes with tutorials about how you can get it set up, how you can get started with Trello, how you can start using and customizing the template for yourself. So definitely grab that if you want to give it a try. And now I want to jump into the 4 essential work blocks that you should have as a part of your plan every single week. And it might be interesting to hear that only one of them is about your clients. The other 3 are about you and your business, right? Because as the CEO, you have a lot of different aspects of your business that you need to be devoting your energy to, and your clients are one piece of that puzzle, right? We love our clients, they're very important, but they are one piece of several in the big picture of our business. So because I think it's the most self-explanatory, the first work block to plan for is your client work, right? Whether that's a service that you're providing, whether it's coaching and you have calls on your calendar on a weekly basis, however you're serving your clients, that's one block in your week that you're going to plan for. Now, of course, you're not going to do all your client work in one block, but maybe I'll call it a bucket instead of a block. So we're going to put client work in one bucket. Our second bucket is going to be for your own marketing, promotion, sales strategy for your business. Whatever your strategy looks like, you need time set aside every week to implement that and to be consistent with that. Because as we know, if you're not marketing and selling, there's going to come a time where potentially your client load is down and you have no new clients coming in, and then that gets stressful. So bucket 1, client work. Bucket 2, bringing in new clients. Now, the second 2 buckets are the ones that I think people forget about a little bit, or these are the ones that get like easily pushed to the back burner and just kind of like these go in the leftover pile big time from what I have noticed. So the first is your own admin. So this is stuff like tracking your finances, doing maintenance. So I talked a couple of weeks ago about creating maintenance plans for your processes and your systems. So going in, checking up, making sure your automations are working, any like kind of stats or tracking, if you track, your email open rates or whatever that might be, this is going to go into your admin block. And you usually don't need a ton of time for this. Like I spend probably a half an hour to an hour a week on my admin. It's not a ton of time, but it is so much easier when you're keeping up with things on a weekly basis rather than like getting to the end of the quarter and being like, oh my goodness, I have not done anything with my finances. I have no idea what's been coming in, what's been going out. Like, it's so much easier if you do a little bit at a time. We all have different tendencies about whether we like to work in blocks or whether we like to work in little bits, but when it comes to some of these base admin functions, definitely staying on top of it on a regular basis is the way to go. So that's the third bucket, is your admin, your back end stuff. The fourth work bucket is what I lump into CEO time. So this is the time when you're being the CEO of your business, when you're doing the kind of visioning, you're setting goals, you're evaluating, you're taking that big picture view. And this is one that like not just gets put on the back burner for a lot of us, but it's like we don't even think about it until we're doing our like our setting our goals at the end of the year for the next year. But the CEO time, that's where if you have ideas of things that you want to create, things you want to experiment with, maybe if you're in coaching, I like to kind of lump that in sometimes with the CEO time. It's what you're doing to really grow your business, not just to keep it running, but creating and planning for those visions that are going to take you to the next stage and to the next level. Right? And I actually do, I know I said not to save it till Friday, but like having a Friday afternoon where I'm like, this is my CEO time, and I get like a good coffee drink or something and sit down and have that time with a journal or whatever it is I'm working on at the time. It just feels so good. And I think that once you get into a routine of doing it, it kind of becomes something that you look forward to, because it's that like daydream time, right? That we think is an extra, but really as business owners, it is really important to the health and the growth of our business. So those are the 4 buckets: your client work, marketing, promoting, selling, your admin, and then your CEO time, that big picture visionary stuff. And there are a few different ways that you can kind of go about fitting these different blocks into your plan. But really it comes down to a few questions. The first is, how much time are you currently spending on each of these 4 categories? Some of them are going to be much more than others. I spend way more time serving clients than I spend on my back-end admin. And that's fine because I'm still getting done what I need to do for my admin, right? But it helps to estimate this so that you kind of know where you can plug things in. If you're not sure, or even if you think you know, do a time audit. So I love Toggle Track for this. It's free. It's super easy to use. I have a blog post on this somewhere. I'll see if I can find a link to drop. But yeah, for even just a week, audit your time and it will tell you actually how much time you're spending on things. And I gotta tell you, sometimes you think you know how much time you're putting into certain clients, certain projects, your own marketing, whatever. And when you see the numbers on the tracker, it is not quite the same. So it's really just a way to collect some data to work with the most complete information that you can as you make your plan. So that was question 1. How much time are you currently spending on each of these 4 blocks? The second question is, how much time do you want to be spending? And this is, you're going to kind of use your actual as the basis for this. You know, like if I'm spending 4 hours a week on my marketing, but I'd really rather be spending 3, or if I'm spending no time on my CEO time in that big picture planning place, but I really would love to be spending 2 hours a week. You know, when you have an idea of I'm spending too much time here or I'm not spending enough here in terms of your goals, that gives you an idea of what needs to shift, right? And then as we talk about those shifts, that might be a place where you think about putting some systems in place where we can streamline, we can automate, maybe even delegate some stuff out to free up time for the things that you want to be doing more of. So that's kind of the meat of it today. We have the 4 buckets of work time. So I'd really love to challenge you throughout this week and definitely into next week as you plan your schedule out, really thinking about these 4 buckets and carving out time for each of them. Especially if you don't typically spend time on your admin or in that CEO zone every week, I would challenge you to try that out. Carve out some time, block it on your calendar if you need to, and give it a go. Let me know how it goes. And then use those 3 questions to little by little shift your weekly schedule closer to where you want it to be. Because if you're making little shifts over time, this ideal schedule that you line out for yourself now will become your real schedule. All right, so decide, do a time audit, figure out how much time you're spending, how much time you want, and then what needs to shift. Because when you know what needs to change, it's easier to find the strategies and tools to do it. Often we know that something's off, but we don't know how to fix it because we haven't really gotten clear on what the problem is. So this is a great way for you to do that. Again, I will put some links in. If you're watching on Instagram, all of these links are already in my bio at Jaylane Virtual, but feel free to go grab that Trello dashboard freebie. And then I would love to see you May 9th, 10th, and 11th at the pre-vacation prep plan workshop. We're going to be live on Zoom talking about how to prepare your business for time away, how to prepare your home for time away, and specifically so that when you come home, your home welcomes you back. It doesn't hit you in the face with a giant to-do list and a bunch of stress. So I would love to see you at that workshop. Thanks so much for being here with me, and I will see you back here next week.